Hi and good morning. This is a practice interview test for as a part of task 5.7 for the Career Foundry Data Analytics course. I would be answering the questions that have been asked in the task. The first question is, what does the CRISP DM methodology for data mining entail? What does the data analyst do in each step? The CRISP DM methodology stands for Cross Industry Standard Procedure for Data Mining. It is not the only method for data mining. There are many other, but this is the most commonly used method. This involves the following stages. The first stage is understanding the business. The second stage is understanding the data. The third stage is cleaning the data. Fourth stage is creating a model. Fifth stage is trying the model. And the final stage is deploying the model. In the first stage, we understand the business, we understand the various processes involved in the business, and understand the important aspects of the business. In the second stage, we understand the data. Once we have understood the business, we try to understand the importance and the meaning of various variables that are present in the data and the various values that it takes, the data types, and so on. In the next stage, we do some cleaning and data integration procedures, which involve dealing with the missing values, dealing with duplicates, dealing with various data types. We try to clean the data. We try to perform various aggregation and integration procedures to create a clean data set. And in the next stage, we try to create a model based on the insights that we get from the data sets, from the various analysis that we do. We create a model. Once the model is created, we then try this model as a pilot basis. Once the pilot is complete, we analyze the outcome of the model, and we try to gauge, or we try to measure the accuracy of the model with the help of other investigators, of course. Finally, once the model is cleared, we would then deploy the model in full scale. When the model is deployed, we would also continuously monitor the model for its outcome and its accuracy. The next question is, explain what needs to be done before you can forecast time series. In other words, what does time series analysis involve? The time series analysis basically is plotting a variable against time. So the independent variable is always time in a time series plot. So it could be the trend that a variable follows over a period of time. Now in time series forecasting, we do something called as simple moving averages and weighted moving averages. Simple moving averages are just moving averages that are calculated over a fixed period of time. It could be a specific time frame that we wish to measure. Based on these simple moving averages, we try to predict the future movement of the trend. Moving averages help us to smoothen out the volatility, and they help us to separate the signals from the noise. The next question is, discuss the main principles of data ethics as well as what companies or organizations could do to uphold these principles. The principles of data ethics are privacy, transparency, accountability, and equality. Privacy entails the privacy of the data that is being collected from the customers. It is the right of the customers to have their data private. The private information and sensitive informations of the customer should not be shared by organizations in public domain, and there should be strict laid out rules to handle privacy issues. The second principle is transparency. Transparency is entails that the customers should know what the data is being collected for, what the data will be used for, what processes would take place on the data, and with whom, and what part of the data would be shared by the organization. There have to be strictly laid out rules and regulations to maintain the data transparency. The next principle of data ethics is accountability. The organization should take full accountability of the data, and the responsibility of data sharing and sharing of information is completely of the organizations. There are regulations and by in various countries which regulate the accountability issues of the data. The final principle is equality. Organizations should not use the data to differentiate among individuals, to differentiate among the masses based on caste, creed, religion, and so on. There should be clearly set out rules which state the principle of data equality. The next question is, imagine you are an analyst at a financial service company and you have some concerns about bias in the way a predictive model was measured. How would you raise your concerns with your manager? Make some suggestions for how to avoid measurement bias in the future. So now, the bias in the predictive model is a measurement bias. Now, once I would after the measurement of the model has been done, and we could clearly identify. I would first confirm that there is a measurement bias in the predictive model. If the measurement bias is confirmed, I would communicate it with the manager. Once I would just like to know his take on the measurement bias. If I am satisfied with his take, then I would not proceed further. I will close the matter then and there. But if I am not satisfied, I would suggest him some other ways that the measurement bias could be corrected. Now, organizations can have a set rules or a set pattern for measuring the data or measuring the models. And it should not differ from person to person. There should not be a subjective bias to it. There should be a fixed system of measurement of the model, of the predictive models. And it should be clearly laid out in the rules and regulations of the organization. Explain the difference between regression and classification models in predictive analysis. When would you use one of these models over the other? So the regression, there are the two main models that are used in predictive analysis are, of course, regression and classification. Regression entails linear regression. Linear regression is mainly used in quantitative data, wherein the result expected is also quantitative. Whereas classification model, which is also called as logistic regression, it basically deals with categorization. Classification models are mainly used when we expect a categorical result, or we want to classify the outcomes into specific category. So the classification model mainly works on qualitative data, and regression models, they mainly work on quantitative data.